evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A female is still held hostage in San Antonio by a suspect with a gun. Also tonight, a COVID-19 task force is created to protect the health and safety of CNMI residents. And the Department of Public Safety is now charging for services pertaining to non-essential activities. In sports, high school fishing clubs pull off a Wahoo of a tournament. Stay with us, these stories and more are next.
My family is on whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume.
Since we installed the Docomo whole home Wi-Fi, what did you guys notice about it?
When you pull up the driveway, it automatically connects, and I don't have to get out of my car right away and come upstairs to go on my phone.
My favorite thing is that it doesn't buffer when I'm watching YouTube.
My favorite thing is that when Addie calls now, there's no lag. Like before it used to be where I couldn't see her sometimes and I have to hang up and then call her back, and now I don't have to do that.
You know what's a good thing too is that when you come over to visit, I could give you your own password. I can assign a time limit so that I can say that you can only be on it for 1 hour. So that means you won't get in trouble from your mom.
And then you can go home.
The thing that I love the most is that I can freeze the internet for periods of time so that we can enjoy dinner time like this. Why are you rolling your eyes? So I'll turn it back on after dinner.
Whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Flame Tree TV proudly presents the 2020 Northern Marianas Sports Association Awards Banquet. Special airings Monday, March the 9th, Wednesday, March 11th, and Friday, March the 13th, starting at 8:30 p.m. Only on KSPN2.
Halfa Day, Tirawami, and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. The hostage situation in San Antonio is still ongoing. As of press time, Gordon Aldon Castro has not surrendered to law enforcement officers. Negotiations between Castro, officers, and family members have been ongoing since yesterday afternoon. Around 7 this morning, Castro had fired 6 rounds and another 3 rounds at 11:45. Officers have already delivered 2 packages of consumables to the suspect today and continue to communicate through means of a megaphone. No officers have been reported to be hurt, and residents in the immediate area have been evacuated. The government continues to take all precautionary measures in efforts to control the spread of the coronavirus. Recently, a task force was established to formalize ongoing local efforts and to bring together key departments for a solid government approach.
They are named the COVID-19 Task Force, made up of representatives from crucial agencies that play a big role in the protection of health and safety of the CNMI residents.
The issue is what should we do and not wait for anybody else or any federal agency to address our concern on this island. We have 55,000 population, and one incident is a big issue.
Chairman of the task force, Warren Villagomez, shares the priorities directed by Governor Torres.
One of them is the current airport screening that is ongoing, effectively proven. Second is the CHCC movements of screening patients and identifying areas within CHCC for containment, mitigation of any infectious person that presents to our ER, family clinic, and other public health sites. The third major priority is the public school system and NMC. When would we trigger school closure?
Villagomez states discussions with PSS and NMC are currently ongoing, but both education departments have already implemented measures of their own.
But at Northern Mariners College, we are building awareness of different steps that need to be taken to prevent the spread of the disease, of the virus. We're also launching, we've launched the NMC portal, the NMC web app. And I encourage everybody to download it. It's MyProa that allows us to spread information or launch the spread of information rather quickly. We're also considering suspending any travel for Northern Mariners College, and that's a decision that will be made in consultation with the task force.
PSS Commissioner of Education also states that travel has been suspended. A press conference was held this morning with the governor, lieutenant governor, and the COVID-19 task force to address some concerns the community may have, such as containment sites, if ever a possible case comes to shore.
So the containment site, alternate care site for Saipan is identified over in Cagman, the juvenile detention facility. We're working hand in hand, CCC and Homeland Security. We had inspected the site. We have DOC, again, partnering up with Homeland Security to make sure that the living space is suitable and can be transformed into a medical facility in the event that we need to transform the building into an alternate care site.
Villagomez adds the second site will be at the Ada Gym, which was used as a site 10 years ago during the H1N1 pandemic. On Rhoda, the Rhoda Elementary School will be used as a containment site, and on Tinian, it will be the gymnasium and library. Governor Torres also addresses the panic buying issue on island.
I don't know any direct information coming to the governor's office about shortage of food. So again, there should be a panic in the community about shortage of food? The answer is no. Should you stack up? I won't say no. I think that preparing yourself, whether it's for this event or another event, is the wise thing to do. But for the community to have a panic approach that, oh, we better get this before tomorrow because we may run out of food, I don't think that's the case at this point. I know that the shipment continue to come in. It may not be coming in the same way it did last year, but shipments do come in. There's some additional regulations for the shippers or the shipment, but other than that, our commodities continue to come in on a regular basis.
Governor Torres explains that healthcare is gravely important, and there is a collaborative effort in assuring the safety and health of the residents.
So I hope that today's press conference, I hope that our community out there understands that it's okay to live your life normal. It's okay to live and live that normal. And that we are doing everything we can to prevent this coronavirus from coming to our end.
Reporting for KSPN, I'm Sally Lemis.
And speaking on precautionary measures, the Department of Labor held a workshop today to focus on the impact the coronavirus is having on the economy.
So today we've invited our business community to join us today. We have a lot of information to disseminate. We are mainly focusing on topics such as our local labor regulations, CW1 regulations, the trends, the job trends that we see out there. And that's because, we're responding to the impacts of COVID-19. We're beginning to see, layoffs from certain companies. And so we wanted to sort of, reach out to the employers and, give them the education that they need right now.
The workshop featured two guest speakers, Gloria Kavanaugh, the chairperson of the Hotel Association of the Northern Mariana Islands, to speak on the impact the coronavirus has on the tourism industry, and Esther Muñoz, the CEO of the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, to discuss countermeasures in the workplace from the effects of the coronavirus.
There's different guidance every day on what CDC recommends, especially on public events, on basically on how to handle healthcare facilities as well. And so that's why we cut our hours. We have people that are actually working in the front areas, the entrance to do that primary screening process. So yeah, I mean, kind of summarizing that on what we're doing and sharing it with the public.
The day wrapped up with a workforce resource fair to give information to employees who are affected by the coronavirus by layoffs or reduction of their work hours. As part of some cost-cutting measures, the Department of Public Safety will begin charging for services of non-essential activities. Sally Lemus reports.
The CNMI is looking at a huge decline in revenue collection, which affects both government entities and private sectors. This leads to many implementing cost containment measures in operations and personnel. In a phone interview with DPS spokesperson Adrian Pangilinan, all non-essential activity requesting police presence will be charged.
This is one of the measures that we have to take right now, just to make sure that we're able to cover all these services that we provide. For example, also we will be starting to also charge, for example, like any extracurricular activities that happen in the public that require emergency services to be on the scene at all times.
Some expenses that the charges will cover is overtime for officers, equipment, and fuel and vehicle cost. The public school system received a letter from DPS concerning the charges.
I just got that letter yesterday, so I forwarded it to the Board of Education, and I am waiting for them to work on. I'm just waiting for a reply from them.
The letter to PSS states, all non-essential activities requested by your entity will be charged at $47 per officer. Pangilinan explains which activities are considered as non-essential.
Basically, non-essential activities, what that means is the extra activities that happen after the normal hours that the officers are at the school site. For example, if they have a after-school dance, a after-hours dance, for example, prom night. If there's any fundraisers going on at the school site after hours, after the normal officer hours, and then after the normal hours, I should say that the school is open. Like, for example, if the school usually closes at 3:30, any activity that happens after that, that's what non-essential activity basically means.
ADA says this directive does not affect the police officers stationed at high schools since they are funded by a grant.
Those police are the SRO, and they are under a grant, so they're being paid for. So that doesn't really matter, but we do need to extend it to the middle school.
Reporting for KSPN, I'm Sally Lemus.
Coming up, the Cannabis Commission has submitted the rules and regulations to Governor Torres for approval. Find out more after the break.
Mom, are you sure? What about the shutters? And do you have your medicine?
Don't worry about us, love, okay? You take good care of yourself. Hi, my love. Yeah, sorry. The power went out, so I had to light up all the candles. Yeah. Yes, baby, yeah. I'm just glad our home phone's working and we're able to contact you.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. The 180 days is up, and the Cannabis Commission has officially submitted the rules and regulations for growing and selling cannabis in the CNMI. The CNMI Cannabis Commission has adopted and submitted to Governor Torres the emergency rules and regulations for cannabis in the CNMI.
We're happy to report that we did submit the first set of commercial regulations that are going to be governing this brand new industry.
Meaning once Governor signs the rules and regulations into law, selling cannabis will be legal, but you must have a license.
It's based on canopy space. So the bigger the canopy space, the higher the license fee. So we just encourage people to reach out to the Cannabis Commission and ask like what size are you looking at? What is your interest? What license you are interested in? And then we can give you a breakdown of how much you can expect to pay in terms of the licenses.
Public Law 20-66 was signed into law by Governor Torres back in September of 2018, making marijuana legal in the CNMI. And when Public Law 21-5 was signed into law in September of 2019, it made cannabis legal for an individual to smoke and grow in your own home, but not sell. That's where a Cannabis Commission was formed, where they had 180 days to structure rules and regulations for the sale of cannabis in the CNMI.
The emergency regulations, what they really are is it provides us the opportunity to be able to provide the list of requirements and procedures and prohibitions in the regulations that potential licensees or investors could already begin processing. Because it's not just come in and fill out an application, is you have to meet certain supporting document requirements before you come in, such as having a business license, such as going to zoning to ensuring that your license premise is within the bounds of the law and also our regulations.
And now that the Cannabis Commission has formed the rules and regulations, those who were growing in their home before must now pay $75 to be registered, which lasts for 1 year.
Now we're having to go back and say, hey, the registry is available, and now you can come in and apply for a card. If you're caught growing in your home and you do not have a card, then you are in violation of the law.
And although the commission has met the March 10th 180-day mark, there has been some setbacks financially.
Or we weren't exempt from the austerity cuts. The commission did partake in that 28.3% cut. And because of that, it has affected our ability to function in the way we wanted to when we first started doing the regulations. So a lot of the things that we want to employ require resources and not just manpower, so to speak, but also systematic infrastructure, meaning software that can govern where the products of these things that are being made, how we're able to track them. A lot of these things come into effect, or we want it to come into effect upon the promulgation of the rules and regs. Unfortunately, we are facing some budget fiscal issues, and because of that, we had to retract some of the things that we wanted to roll out.
But there is one aspect that makes the CNMI Cannabis Commission unique from any other.
The research certificate license that we've come up with. No other jurisdiction is doing this. No other territory is doing this. What it does is it enables certain firms, whether a private firm, a laboratory, or even an educational firm or educational organization, to come into the CNMI and do their cannabis research here, set up shop, come up with all the analytics that they want to study, and apply for that research certificate by residing in the CNMI and using our constituents to do your research.
Now the question is, what's next for the CNMI Cannabis Commission?
We feel confident in the regulations that we have now, and then once we start making that money, then we'll be able to go back and see what is our priority. What do we want to implement now that's going to make this even more efficient? So what's next for the cannabis industry, or the Cannabis Commission, is now we go back to all the holes that we had in the commercial regulations and look at how we can tie those in with our current operations.
Once Governor signs the adopted emergency regulations, the Cannabis Commission will be able to start accepting commercial applications. For any questions or concerns, or anyone interested in obtaining a license to sell cannabis may contact the Commission by emailing media@cnmicannabis.org. Reporting for KSPN, I'm Ashley McDowell. 27 years ago, one of the island's major hotels faced serious legal issues. As you can see on the Vintage News tonight at 6:30 on June 8, 1993, the top story was a case involving Article 12 of the CNMI Constitution filed against what was then Hotel Nico, what is now the Kensington Hotel, a case that was seen as an existential threat to other leaseholds. At the same time, tourism was expanding with additional flights from Japan with multiple carriers, putting a strain on the airport infrastructure.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, coming up in the sports, Yahoo for Wahoo. Get hooked on KSPN2 Sports next.
Jose and Pedro were born on the very same day. Jose liked to play sports. Pedro liked to play video games. Jose's favorite word was pass. Pass me the ball. Pedro's favorite word was pass too. Pass me the rice. Jose is retired and has both time and energy. His life is just beginning. Pedro has diabetes, hypertension, and gout. His life could soon end. Eat less, play more, live longer. Brought to you by PHI, the pharmacy you can trust.
Buenas sports fans. Buenas sports fans, you know, for a long time, Saipan had only one annual fishing tournament, the International Billfish Tournament in July. And then in 2005, John Guerrero organized the first Mahi tournament, and that's been held in March every year since then. And this year, Wahoo makes it a tournament trilogy. Saturday, Smiling Cove was the place to be to get close and personal with freshly caught wahoo. This year, the catch was abundant, most of them between 10 to 30 pounds each. So yes, it was a great day to be a fisherman or a photographer. This first Wahoo tournament was organized by the fishing clubs at the 3 public high schools.
Yes, this fishing club was organized by SFA, the leaders of SFA, and we wanted to make our first annual Wahoo Derby to give back to our community.
51 boats went out in the morning and 51 boats returned in the afternoon, meaning it was successful. Are you surprised about this turnout?
Yes, I'm very surprised that the community also take part in this, especially for the PSS students. I'm really happy and grateful for them. And for the numbers of fishing, for the numbers of people that enter, there are only given 3 Wahoo prizes. I mean 3 Wahoos that will weigh in for the heaviest prize, which is $500.
Would you say that fishermen were starved for a tournament?
I believe so, yes.
And most of the boats brought back something, mostly wahoo and mahi.
So we have to contact logistics, fish and wildlife to go over the procedures, registration, and everything.
Have you ever done anything like this before in your life?
To be honest with you, this is actually my first time hosting and organizing a Wahoo Day.
And look at all the people out here. What do you think about that?
I think that it's very extraordinary.
While wahoo were good size, the mahi were on the smallish size. Each fish brought in was measured and weighed for the Division of Fish and Wildlife data purposes. A running tally on the scoreboard let everyone know the leaders. The Marianas brought in a 33.6 pounder to lead the way when Bella Duck Perinos thought they may have had the winner. How's the fishing today? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
Whoa.
Tim.
Whoa.
Team name.
Nice.
Well, it gave us a hell of a fight. Took us about how many minutes did it take you, Tim, to bring this up?
2 hours? 5.
No. Sure, go ahead. I'm just kidding you. All right, Perry?
5 minutes.
One follow, no? One follow?
Shocking.
Nice,
All right, good luck.
Bro,
Got a chance there.
Nice.
Naturally, barbecue grill masters populated the marina. You got a yellowfin, where is it? What'd you do to it?
It's on the grill.
It's on the grill?
It's on the grill.
All right. Hey, James. It's on the grill, there it is. Veteran angler George Moses, a tournament regular, was impressed by the high school students' initiative.
I think it was a great, the fishermen came in support for the children, the school children. And I believe, bottom of their heart, it's not about winning. It's about winning it for the kids, supporting the kids. When it comes to the student, the fishermen are very supportive. And I'm glad and I'm thankful for see Wayne Panglinan and the Saipan Sports Fishing Association that make this happen.
Fishing is a valuable skill, most often handed down from one generation to the next.
It's priceless. I said it's priceless. Most of them, I teach them young. As young, it's easier to teach. When they become teenagers, it's kind of difficult. But once they already pass that teenagers, they understand what we are teaching them. And I'm glad that my sons, my older sons, my youngest sons, they're into it, and I see them that they are better than me.
He says it's important to learn how to fish at a very tender age.
6 years old, when you give them 6, even 5, and let them go to the ocean and let them get, it's not about fishing, but to get them the sickness, the CC, the sea sickness, get them over that, they're hooked.
They're hooked?
Yes.
High school students were helping out, relishing this first-time experience.
There's about 30 of us, and yeah, we weren't expecting this much, but we're glad that there was this much.
What's your job out here?
So we're bringing in the fish so they can weigh them, and then we bring it back to the boats.
Have you ever done anything like this before in your lives?
No.
Will you do it again?
Yes.
And living on Saipan makes this skill especially significant.
We're an island. We have a big playground out there, and that's the ocean. That is a safe playground if we do it right. And the children, they can go out and enjoy.
For Ivan and the other fishermen, this Wahoo tournament was a most welcome event.
We go to Goat Island, spent half day there. 4 or 5 times was run away, and only one landed. But still, we don't come empty, that's why it's good.
A good day?
Yes, very good day.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Get your game and gear at Gold's Gym Saipan. Group exercise is a great way to get fit and then stay fit. For something high tempo, go for a ride with one of our instructors in our new spin room. Let's roll. Pilates improves flexibility, builds strength, and develops control and endurance in the whole human body. It also improves coordination and balance. And the Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplement. See you at Gold's Gym.
And today's high temperature was double 8s, the low 75, humidity double 5s. Tomorrow mostly sunny, probably will not rain, northeast winds 15 to 20 miles an hour, high around 87, low 76, seas 4 to 5 feet out there. Sunrise at 6:26, high tide at 9:38, low tide 4:04, sunset 6:26. All right, sunrise 6:26, sunset 6:26. That means tomorrow's our vernal or spring equinox, 12 hours of daylight. news, sports, and weather in this midweek edition of the KSPN2 News. Thank you for watching. See you back here tomorrow night.